Well, morning, sports fans. Yeah, lighting sucks around here. It's only about 4:24 in the morning on Saturday, the 25th of March 2023. What you've been listening to is the lapping of my dog this morning. A diary degree range delivered WB in Roseman, California. Okay, so probably can't see me as much on this damn thing, but that's par for the course. Wake up in the morning and can't go back to sleep. It's not normal these days anyway. Sleep deprived and emotionally screwed up it is. So, sorry about the lighting. That's all I got. So I have to deal with until I get the daylight going on, then I can get my light coming in here. So, wake up this morning and dealing with the algorithms of our lovely world of social media. The programmable zeros and ones that keep trying to tell me that I have to think about this way. I have to keep thinking about that way. Here are your favorites. You're stuck with them. You can't get past them. Meaning that if I wanted to see another topic other than the zeros and ones that it's already got me locked into, because of the preferences I made a long time ago with this particular social media. Oh, he's trying something new. Well, no, we got to bury him with the other stuff. So basically, politics, cruise, cooking, maybe travel. I'm lucky. Anything else beyond that? Well, some music if I'm lucky enough, or maybe videos of movies. I've got it on there. I'm talking about the same social media platform I'm on right now. And listening to all the programmable stuff. It's quite maddening because you need to have preferences. You need to have your own decisions. You have freedom for that one. But when you have people in government regarding local or state dictating what you need to learn, we're screaming more and more about fear, fear of the unknown, fear of the other person. We want safety, we want control, we want. And we have no idea what the hell kind of blessings we would get. Except we bellyache about them. Bellyache that certain groups of people should have and not the other groups of people. Guess that's how it goes. We are really screwed up in the head, I'll tell you that much. When you have one particular state that outlaws books, bans books basically, people can actually tell school boards and other districts that we don't want these books because they're bad. There's so many different things in there. They're so bad. It gets to a point where you have one particular state going crazy over a Michelangelo statue that's been there for how long? Centuries? Been admired and different viewpoints of a Renaissance time. And now in our closed-minded, conservative atmosphere that we're generating at this point, it's more and more like it anyway. We're seeing that a statue of Michelangelo's famous works, no matter how artistically correct they may or may not be, the imagination of an artist who was also instrumental in doing other famous works, it's really not needed. Even discussion about a certain statue with all of its attributes. My God, that's shocking. Even if you happen to go to the college, there's even shocking things in there too. That's called knowledge. That's what I keep looking at these days, knowledge. But moreover, I'm getting buried alive with the zeros and ones. Because now I got to hear everyone else's opinions and think they're holier than thou. This is shocking. That's shocking. The Holy Bible's shocking. The Bible. Of course, I'm surprised that somebody else goes after the Quran or the Torah or any other kind of religious artifacts that we study history from. But I suppose that they're not going to be needed anyway because they probably contain material that's immaterial to us. To the conservative, closed-minded individuals who keep thinking that their way is the only way to deal with it. Which I'm kind of surprised that we haven't had any runs on any of the other religious artifacts other than the Holy Bible being banned from a school or from a state for that matter. Utah. The theoretical most religious state with the most heavily conservative thinking and feeling now wants to ban the bane of their existence. Somebody actually did put a request in the school system for that. And it picked up on the national. It picked up, and it's trying to get traction. To where the Holy Bible, the bane of Christianity, the absolute architecture for our religion that's going hell in a handbasket right now. We want to preserve, we want to conserve, we don't want the ugly values, and yet we look at the Bible and we think it's holy and pure because it's God's word. But God has put differences in the Bible. How dare he? We thought he was conservative. We thought he was preserving. He wasn't preserving or conserving our way. How dare he? Who does he think he is? We have a school board going over whether or not to ban the Bible. To put this particular state law that was signed in. They want to protect children from the internet. They want to protect children from free speech. I kept thinking it was an attack on the First Amendment rights. I still think so. But when you have a holy institution on attack, let's get this damn thing elevated, shall we? A holy institution on attack because it has all these things it talks about that people can't stand. A Mormon state under attack because state law and state closed-minded people who are just not willing to understand that the stuff that they're trying to get rid of was also the bane and also bread and butter of our existence, knowledge of everything and everything around us. Are they going to be taking away the poets as well? All the poets that they've tried to read about, are they going to be taking them away too? Or anything of the controversial authors out there? Orwell's already been attacked. Huxley's already been attacked. Clarke's under attack. Even Stephen Hawking's. Physics under attack. Metaphysics under attack. Religion under attack. Because those who don't like it say, no, I can't deal with it. I'm going to be a Christian, but I'm not going to be supporting Christianity. The mindset here. And it's telling me that all of this is people have lost their fucking minds. Are we going to be having another war? Because apparently we are having a cultural war. Even worse than what several decades ago was. I remember back in the 70s and 80s that we didn't exactly have this political bout where we're canceling each other out and we're saying that this is supposed to be, that's not supposed to be, and yet we're kicking each other's butt during this time. We had political discussions. We had civil discussions concerning about viewpoints. Progressives, the Democrats, wanted to build. Republicans wanted to hold on to traditions, even where the traditions trying to bury us alive. Blood. We had a shooting. Actually, we had many shootings. We had bombings. Things that could have been putting our collective reasoning under a microscope to see what exactly was important to us. As I was discovering more and more, concerning about little snippets here and there, I didn't realize that back in the 20s and 30s when we actually had the roaring idiots with the Tommy guns trying to kill people left and right, the body count of the blood got so damn bad that law enforcement said to Congress, create a law to get rid of these guns. Make it illegal. But of course you can make it legal during wartime. But just not in our streets. I was actually learning something that we actually did that to control the bloodshed. Our kids, throughout the last 3 or 4 decades, have been screaming the same damn thing, and yet Congress has deaf ears. Back in the 80s, when we actually had a president shot, and the Secretary of, James Brady, of President Reagan's cabinet, Danner got killed, crippled, but not killed. He helped also work on the Brady bill to put a waiting period for the firearms. 5 days, background checks. Just something to ease off the gun multiplications that we have going on. For people own guns, but they're going to have to wait to get their firearms. There was a lot of howling from the NRA on this one. The NRA did not like this at all. They don't like anybody touching their damn guns or freedom of the guns. Second Amendment is gospel to them. Well, the First Amendment to me is gospel. But it's not gospel, it's just information. It's just a law created in the Constitution by our forefathers. Founding fathers of this country. A few decades later, we had an Arizona representative, Gabby Giffords. Pissed me off that she damn near got killed by firearms. She also went on the anti-gun platform and tried to get it limited in her state of Arizona as well. Apparently, the conservatives these days, this generation, don't care about that. They want proliferation, much like Florida wants proliferation, and Texas. It would surprise me about learning more and more about Texas. The Uvalde shooting. Kid comes in with an AR-15 and does his massacre. We had law enforcement outside for well over an hour and more with AR-15s. And they were afraid of their own damn guns. The own type of guns that they were going to be facing. And yet this is the same type of gun that we can get easily off the damn streets or in mail orders or gun shows. Get the ammunitions for them. Screw the damn waiting period. Just get the damn guns. and go out and do our dastardly things. Of course, we like the firepower. We like the allure of it. The gun's shaking like crazy every time it keeps releasing the lethal lead at its potential target. We love the feel of it because how it makes us feel. It doesn't matter if we're going to be creating bloodshed or anything else like that. Now, if I really happen to say on YouTube what I'm thinking about this situation, how we need more resolution that's going to be taking us down that darker path even worse than what we can stomach, I'd get pulled like crazy. But I'd seen other people talking up the yin. There are certain guidelines that the algorithm still looks for. That if I go against terms and conditions any which way, social media has a way of putting a silence on me for saying something as dastardly as I can possibly can. Not to mention probably getting flagged to law enforcement at this point. I'm trying to keep an eye on me whether or not I'm going to be one of those guys who's going to be getting something to do something dastardly. Let me on a record, I don't like it. Yes, I had fired firearms before. Scared the hell out of me. You ever taken a modified N1 carbine? Or fire them in a YMCA camp? 2 or 3 trained adults watching over 10 kids firing their weapon at a paper target, held up by wooden clothespins. First 2 shots, I blew both clothespins off. When they told me to sight and showed me how to sight, boom, 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 boom. I wish I could have kept the targets. Weird thing is to say is I was damn proud of that. So what happens when you play the arcade games for so long that you became good at doing something that dastardly. I'm not blaming the arcade games, but I'm telling you the feeling and the addiction of the damn thing. It's scary. But I didn't want more of the damn thing, that's for sure. Next day at the YMCA camp, coming up on its end. Actually, had a spiritual awakening during that time. And really learned how to hate guns. My brother got out of the military. He still wanted to continue his firearms qualifications. His quals, they call them. He would take me to these indoor fire ranges. I'd handle his 25 snub. My God, he got really old these guns these days. I had the stupid ass idea of pointing that gun towards my hand and shooting it off. Still here. No marks. That thought. And I handled his 25. And I felt I was jerky. Try to hold and steady my wrist. Still feel that jerk. The explosive nature of the firing pin being hit on the canister. And then the powder inside doing its chemical reaction to project the lead portion of it away from it through the tube to hit a target pointed at it. And seeing how the cartridges are just going ping, 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 That scared the hell out of me. It made me nervous as hell. Because now I'm firing an actual weapon. I realize that if I actually took said weapon, I could end a life. Or cause a lot of misery with the damn thing. Or how about having addiction to it, where it's not enough and I have to go into a desert, pull up some paper targets, or go to a firing range and start blasting away. There's a culture of gun worship that we have in this country, in our genetic apparently, that the explosive nature of gun going on, of chemical reactions happening. We see the explosions, and we see the projectile. Either we're going to be inflicted by the damn projectile, or we're going to be inflicting the projectile on a target. Well, even gets to me as I got used to fireworks like crazy. Enjoyed the crap out of them. I didn't realize the principle was still the same concerning about a firework. I didn't realize it a long time ago when the cannon was invented, just for shooting up into the air, but also shooting at your enemy, at your target. Things have become more and more visualized and more solidified. It really made me sick to my stomach. Yet the weirdest damn thing is I can watch some of the television shows that I grew up with, and everybody's using guns to right the wrong, fight for survival, kill the bad guy. No matter which particular genre, still the same damn thing. It's even worse is when I got so damn used to video games of blasting away at targets. It's no wonder sometimes I heard or remembered the conversations back then in the 80s and 90s where they kept worrying about the damn video games, turning our kids into gun crazy monsters. And they argued about it in the Congress, and the conservatives went crazy, and the Democrats weren't exactly happy about it, but we needed to maintain our Second Amendment rights. But we don't like the video games because they're training our kids into monsters. I have to tell these people that in the military, they train our people to be monsters. In order to defend and protect our country, defend and protect freedom, you have to turn into a monster. You have to take a weapon, and you have to inflict pain, and you have to inflict misery on the other person. Either make them capitulate or get rid of them. In the name of principles that we're still conflicted on these days. In the last 3 or 4 years, actually 3 or 4 decades, we've gotten worse. People have gotten so damn disenfranchised. Actually, it's been a lot more decades on that. A century or more. They're afraid of the government taking over and being authoritative, and therefore they'll fight like hell. Generations growing up with that kind of fear. Generations. Fight for survival, fight for life. fight for principles that are conflicting with everybody else, yet we think they're right. Militia groups spurned and encouraged by the Second Amendment a great deal. How many places did we see go up in smoke? Mistrust of each other. A lot of mistrust. Miscommunications. Fear-mongering, anger. That's all constant. We don't trust the big guy anymore. We only trust ourselves, and yet we hear rumors and think they're facts without checking them ourselves. And therefore, we're so misinformed what's happening around us that we're missing all the big picture around us. We think it's here, but it's not. How we're supposed to deal with that, I don't know. How we're supposed to look at ourselves in the mirror, got me on that. I just keep thinking back of how many shootings, how many bombings we've had from our own damn people. What was it, 85 today. McVeigh blows up. It kills civilians, women, children, families. Because it's distrust of government. Blows up a federal building. I don't know. Scares the hell out of people. Years earlier than that, a few years earlier, we had Ruby Ridge. I love a lot of mistrust on both sides. Created a hell of a lot of slaughter. Even worse. We have a charismatic populist asshole convinced a hell of a lot of people that government's bad, they're going to kill you. He's the only way for spiritual salvation. So arm yourselves with weapons, firepower, survival, food. Branch Davidians. A group of them hijacked a sect. Waco, Texas. Anybody remembers it? Shall I say enough said on that one? There was a hell of a lot of complications on both sides. And the splinter groups out there, I look at that and think government's totally after us. We have to go against the government. When we have gun laws to curtail, maybe limit the weapons, gun lobbyists go nuts so far. They want everybody to have a gun to be safe. But we don't have the smarts or the intelligence or even the heart to put the damn guns away and keep them away, because in our own fear and our own stupidity and our own ignorance and arrogance, we find targets. We make laws, but we still find targets. I don't like guns. But the weirdest damn thing is I got 20 guns. I got no battery power for them. But if I happen to produce them out in the open, they're going to be used as an excuse for me to get killed. Not damaged, killed. Law enforcement throughout decades have been on to shoot first, ask questions later. Despite the training, although try to calm the other person down, tell them to back off with a hell of a lot of forceful language. And if that doesn't work, shoot them. Of course, we have the non-lethals, and if they don't work, still shoot them. Doesn't matter if you're sane or if you're insane. Shoot him. Now, how does this translate to all of our future generations at this point? The youth in our time have been trying to banding together to tell the adults, knock off the bullshit. But we still don't listen because we know better. We're going to take our weapons and we're going to use them. We don't want them locked up. We don't want them limited. We want more of them. We want to be buried alive with all the damn ammunition and guns we have. All in the name of fear. Yeah, the guy's coming. So therefore, we got to use our guns to do something dastardly. People called me a libtard throughout the years. In this closed-minded town of Roseman, they like their guns. They want to carry concealed weapons permit because they want to feel quote-unquote safe. They do realize that once they keep pulling the gun out, it's brandishing first, and if they're going to be firing, they're going to be facing charges at this point. But they want to carry their damn guns to keep them safe. Every once in a while, I'll hear occasional pop. Maybe an animal or two. Don't blast. Something scares them, pull out the gun, and then I hear the handguns fall off. Firing ranges up in the hills of Roseman always have. We have rifles going off. Sometimes automatic weapons. Or semi-automatic. So we have that kind of firepower going on. And this is the time of civilization we have. I wouldn't be a good cowboy. I wouldn't be able to deal with that kind of mentality if I was living back in the 1800s or 1700s. We're all dependent upon the flintlock. And then we got to depend upon a Winchester or a Colt. Because you had to be fast drawing those damn things according to the lore that's been handed down for how long? A fast hand with a Colt, and you'll be able to shoot your enemy down because you feel he's threatening you one way or another. How long has my generation been growing up under that kind of crap? And the previous generations, when they saw the things on the theatrical screens, both small and large, that the gun was it. The gun was the culmination of the West. We tamed the West. We tamed our country with guns. We proved our worth. We proved our mettle. We proved how brave we are by shoving a tube in someone's face or pointing a tube at someone's face and firing a lethal round of metal at them. And if we caused physical pain, good. If we killed him, even better. If nobody was around, perfect. We're going to love it. We're going to need it, want it. This is bad or worse than alcohol. Both kill. But that's what we have right now. Can't get it past it. Can't get around it. The thing is, we're not going to understand just how much we have to keep spilling before we're really sick and tired of being sick and tired. By that time, it's way too late. Banning books and banning things left and right to help us learn the better nature of our angels. Nope, that doesn't work. No, we want more bloodshed. We want conservative, closed-minded. We have to be afraid of everybody. We're told, manipulated, controlled. Of course, the other side can say the same damn thing about us. Live towards. We want to save lives. We want to support those who are trying to save their lives. We try to give them better tools, and yet the only tool that's being used more and more is the pieces of lead being inflicted upon flesh, spewing off life essence. It's a hell of a thing for me to think about near 5 o'clock in the morning if I'm lucky at the clock. Sometimes I get sick and tired of this shit. Even in science fiction, we still point tubes at people and have energy coming out of it to either stun or kill or vaporize. The things I'd like to say would get me amped up with YouTube. I'll try to put it as delicately so the zeros and ones don't go insane. I don't think we're ever going to get done with this. I don't think we're ever going to get sick and tired of it collectively or individually enough. Not until everyone else has already been added to a casualty list. And we see the lone survivor looking around and wondering what the hell's going on. Why the hell did all this happen? Nobody there to tell them, no books to give them information and knowledge of why he was led up to this particular point, because that's been banned. Freedom of speech has been banned. Everything else has been banned. There's one sole survivor looking around that has no clue why, when everything else has been taken away from him. It kind of reminds me of Burgess Meredith in the Twilight Zone episode, where he and his wife are arguing. He wants to spend more time with books because he loves books. He never gets sick and tired of reading books because they filled him up with so much knowledge. Somehow or other, he's trapped in a vault or something like that. There's a nuclear blast to happen. Kills everybody else off, and his wife. There's no mourning for his wife because his wife's a pain in the ass, apparently. And then he and his sick glasses, bottle glasses, sitting around. He's got all the time in the world. His glasses are broken. He's surrounded by books that haven't been mutilated. He's in a library, I guess. And now he can't read the damn shit. All the time in the world. Last survivor of the world. But he can't read the damn books. What's this got the fruit? What's got the meat? I would say figure it out. If your squishy organ inside your skull can actually figure things out. Or try to analyze this. I'm giving too much thought on these situations. In the videotapes out there, we have activists who are trying to tell us that the more guns we keep pouring out there, the more lives are being wasted. More tragedies and more sympathetic prayers. They don't stop it. Activism seems to be the only way, except it's the only way to run into opposition for what's things the way they are. Or were. Turn back the clock to a simpler time. When the hell have we ever had a simpler time around the 1995? Our genetic history is never separate. The constant fight for survival. Our own natures we fight against. We can't even get past this damn shit. Yeah. I'm having that kind of a morning already started up. It's not even light out there already. But I'm afraid of it, and it is an eternal night. We won't see the light of day. We'll see the constant shade of night. Constantly plagued by our own and the demons made manifest. Curious thoughts to have. Sad and sombering and sobering. I'm wondering how the hell we're going to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror and how the hell we're going to be able to deal with ourselves. Because right now, we're sure as hell having that conversation right now. I used to keep wondering when this madness is going to stop. They're going to fight like hell. They're going to have to fight harder and everything else that they've got to run into it. Prove their point, to prove their metal, to prove their existence. Because the older generation is too damn afraid. They want things back the way they're supposed to. You know, I said earlier about video games. I got to do another video about that one.